This may be one of the most important videos that you watch if you're considering driving for DoorDash or if you're a current Dasher here in 2021. Today, we're talking about DoorDash Dasher contract violations. Really a new feature on your Dasher app as you're driving for DoorDash that drivers have really seen hit their account really immediately recently, really starting last September, November, December time, really late Q4 and rolling into here early Q1 of 2021. So again, this may be one of the most important videos that you watch if you're considering driving for DoorDash. So today, we're going to be talking about what determines a contract violation. We're going to be talking about how this affects your account, because if you didn't know, with this new contract violation, you may be kicked off the Dasher platform. You can be deactivated from these contract violations. We're going to give you some examples, again, how to protect yourself and some actual best practices, specifically best practices when it comes to making the delivery that DoorDash officially states. So I want to review that with you as well. But I appreciate you joining the live stream. My name is Mike. If this is the first time that you and I are meeting, I started in this gig economy in 2015, starting with rideshare, delivery. I've charged scooters. I have done Amazon Flex parcel delivery. I've done most every major app in this gig economy. So today, we're going to be talking about these violations here and again, how it affects you. Firstly, we need to define what is a contract violation, because I'll be honest, I wasn't really familiar with this, and chances are, and let me know in the live chat or the comment section, have you ever even heard of this before? Have you ever even seen this before? Have you heard of other drivers getting this? And in fact, whenever drivers have gotten this contract violation, including myself, which yes, I just recently got one, which is in part why we're talking about this, because I've been hearing more and more conversations around this, because again, this is basically brand new. We have to talk about and define this for you. What even is this? What is this contract violation? Aren't I an independent contractor working for DoorDash? Why am I being held to this contract thing? Well, let's get into that. Now, first, we need to define this. Again, what is a contract violation? So let's get into this definition. In essence, it is a terms of service infraction specifically regarding the following two things. Number one, your customer marked the order never arrived. This is massive. Again, lean in for this entire live stream. You're going to want to watch the whole thing, or if you're watching on the replay. The customer marked the order never arrived. They never received it. Okay, well, why would that happen? Number two, extreme lateness. That is either to the pickup destination or the drop-off destination. And then you're going to be thinking, well, what about, extenuating circumstances? What about delays to the restaurant? Because that's very common. Well, what about traffic? If I'm late to this pickup, I'm going to get dinged for these contract violations. What protections do I have here? We're going to talk about that today. And then the drop-off time. Well, okay, DoorDash recommended an ETA. Waze recommended another one. I went with DoorDash because I'm putting my faith in DoorDash. But then again, I hit construction. I hit traffic. Something else. Hey, Bill, Shane, Rhonda, I appreciate you guys being here. Brett, I see everyone in the live stream. Bree and Jesse, how you guys doing? So this is in essence a contract violation. And I mentioned only two examples here because frankly, drivers have only seen these two examples. Again, it's number one, the customer marked the order number arrived. Number two, it is extreme lateness. So that's what we really know as of now. And even on the official website, when it pertains to lateness, when it pertains to contract violations, frankly, we're not given much more. So let's dive into what we are given, and again, how to protect yourself. So let's define now, we know what it is, right? What determines a contract violation? So I mentioned, okay, the customer marked it didn't arrive. I mentioned the lateness. What are the parameters around that? Excuse me. What do you have to be on the lookout for? So I want to define a few things that are directly from DoorDash here as far as these criteria. And again, you're looking at the right. If you're just joining, excuse me, let me take a sip of coffee here. Appreciate that, and we're back. So I mentioned, and if you're new, if you're just joining, contract violations I just got one of these. And if you got one, again, let me know if you got one of these contract violations. It probably surprised you as much as it surprised me because, well, let's look here. And this is a screenshot of my app to the right. In terms of service infraction that we talked about, specifically regarding, okay, let's get into this. Customer marked order never arrived. DoorDash is saying, and I'm going to show you examples of this, that the delivery procedure was not followed, specifically, usually for a handoff, or it can be contactless. But most likely, it's going to be a handoff infraction. And what at least I've seen in my readings, all yesterday, I've gone through Reddit threads, reading over what other drivers are saying. I've gone over the official DoorDash blog. So if there's an order that says it's a handoff, and you mark it as just left at the door, and the customer says, well, I didn't get it, you didn't actually make that interaction with the customer, there may be a discrepancy there. If it's handoff, and let's say the customer is not there, you can't just deliver. You can't just mark, hey, I completed the delivery. You can get an infraction there. You need to go over a very specific process. Number 2, extreme lateness. I think this is going to affect, well, maybe equally. Let me know. Have you received an order not arrived? Have you received an extreme lateness here? Extreme lateness. This is the one that I received. This is concerning. And I'm glad you're here if you're watching on the replay or live. A little concerning here because look at this. This is regarding the pickup of the drop-off time. DoorDash is classifying extreme lateness as 10 minutes late to the arrival location or the pickup location. Now look below that. DoorDash quotes from their official website, from their blog, from their terms of service that they post, all of this. They quote, wait time at the restaurant is not a factor in these deactivations. Because again, you can be deactivated. This is why you're here. This is very important. But wait time at the restaurant is not a factor in deactivations. Well, okay. Well, number 2 here, inevitable delays due to the delivery being offered to you late. So i.e. it's too close to the pickup time or the delivery time. So that's saying they're offering you an order at 3 p.m., right? But the pickup is at 3:05 p.m., but it's going to take you 12 minutes to get there. So obviously you'd get there at 3:12 p.m., which is like, well, I guess 3:15 because it's 10 minutes late, right? So let's say that you get there at 3:15. Then you would get a violation. But if DoorDash sees, now if you didn't know this, again, on their official website, DoorDash states that they work with third-party groups to consider things like traffic, so that there's protections in place. So that means if they do give you an order at 3 p.m. for a pickup at 3:05, but it takes you 10 minutes to get there, well, 15 minutes, let's say, because you have to get there at 3:15. They have software that should recognize that it was due to offering that order to you, as we can see right here, too late. Now, a lot of questions when it comes to this extreme lateness, and we're going to talk about this here, but that's the one that hit me, that extreme lateness. So I want to talk about how it affects you, and it affected my account, getting that extreme lateness. I'm going to tell you what not to do. And the funny thing is, I didn't even do this, which is why it's concerning. We're going to get into a little bit of an opinion piece here at the end, but I didn't even do this thing that I'm going to share with you. So let's talk about how this affects you, because frankly, this is affecting you now. And like I mentioned, drivers were reporting this really in September, November. I'd say more so November, December. This is brand new. Let me know if you received an email on this, because I can't recall an email on these contract violations. I certainly can't recall anything in the Dasher app that is also disclosing anything to do with these contract violations. And remember, this is something that can get you deactivated. So the fact that, at least from what I remember, let me know if you saw something different. No emails, no texts, no app updates regarding this. There's really some things we need to consider here. So let's talk about how this affects you. So again, a screenshot from my Dasher app here. And we can see at the top. So repeat offenses make your account eligible to be reviewed for deactivation. That is big. Chanel says they got an email and a text for a violation. Do let us know if that's an email just letting you know about a violation on your account or disclosing just information about these contract violations here. Definitely let us know. So, okay, repeat offenses make your account eligible for deactivation. So here's what my research showed. Again, combing Reddit, different threads, seeing what other drivers were actually saying. This was really on fire in November, December when this was just happening. Now, this is, as we can see here, what DoorDash is saying, going back to their website here, it says, quote, these reports are rare occurrences and are tracked for your last 100 deliveries. So as you do more deliveries, these reports will disappear from your ratings tab. Second point there. So again, look at this. DoorDash says, okay, well, it's rare and it's tracked for only your last 100 deliveries. That's a rolling average, just like your driver rating. That is a rolling average. That's not a cumulative or a total of your immediate last 100 deliveries. That's your last 100 eligible deliveries. So typically that means, I'm assuming the same, that it's your last 100 rated deliveries. So just again, to clarify, your driver rating, and I'm assuming these reports are from a rolling average of your last 100 rated deliveries. Again, DoorDash says it's rare. Let me know if you agree with that. And a point at the end there. These reports will disappear from your ratings tab. Now, here's what my research showed. Again, just seeing what other drivers were really saying, because sometimes, speaking from just opinion here, sometimes what I see driver experience on the Dasher app isn't exactly what happens based on what DoorDash is laying out here. And what I mean there is that drivers are not seeing this disappear. Again, they are not seeing this disappear after 100 eligible deliveries. Now, is that a bug? Is that just maybe a market bug, or just affecting certain apps, what have you, that because this is something new? Now, regardless if it disappears or not, my concern for you is I don't want you to get deactivated. I don't want to get deactivated. I don't want you to get deactivated. So if it disappears or not, is that just a cosmetic thing? Is that something that's really going to affect you? We'll have to keep an eye on that. Another thing about deactivation. Again, seeing what actual drivers were saying, join the Discord right now. You can also talk there in the Discord. MT, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, great channel. Thanks, really appreciate that, MT. If you guys are getting value in this channel and the content, feel free to drop a super chat or super sticker if you would like. Obviously not required. So what drivers were actually saying was they've gotten one contract violation. They've gotten two. I've seen drivers state that they had three. I think there was a driver that I saw that got 4. So what does that mean? Well, that hopefully means you're not going to be deactivated from 1. You're not going to be deactivated from 2. Maybe you won't be deactivated from 3, although there's been some conversations around, okay, is this a 3 strikes and you're out? Again, based on 100 deliveries. So if you have a violation in these last rolling 100 deliveries, can you be deactivated? Or if you get 3 and 1 disappears and you get another, you're still safe because the 1 disappeared. Once you hit 3, and then there's a review period. Let's also mention that as well. Whenever you get one of these violations, again, you can see to the right here. Let's actually read what that says. It says each issue listed below violates the independent contractor agreement. Because again, this is what you're agreeing to, an independent contractor agreement. This is not employment. This is not a W-2. And in fact, do subscribe right now to the channel if you're new, because we are going to have a certified financial planner coming on the channel next week to talk about taxes, really everything to do with your 1099 and your taxes. That's going to be a massive video, another one of the most important videos, so make sure to join the team here. It continues, when you agree, you have signed up as a Dasher. Tap below to view more details and provide additional information. So, below, driver feedback regarding violations actually disappearing. Again, I have seen drivers saying that, well, no, they've stuck on my account for 500 deliveries after I received this violation. I thought it was supposed to disappear after my last 100 eligible deliveries. Ian, I appreciate the $10 super chat. Thanks for being a team member here. Appreciate that. I saw drivers that said, I've done 200, 300, 500 deliveries, and that violation is still on there. Now, again, I want to be real with you here. The main concern is it going to get you deactivated? To land the plane on that point, I have not seen reports that drivers have been deactivated for 1 to 3 infractions. I think if you're starting to get 4 infractions in your last 100, then yes, you may really be at the risk of being deactivated. Again, that's an opinion. I have frankly not seen a ton of drivers state they've been deactivated, but I have seen some. So I am going to show you how to protect yourself. So let's move on here. Again, that's actual driver feedback from different Reddit threads, different driver communities. Do make sure, let's just take a pause here. Make sure to drop a like on this video if you're getting value, and definitely subscribe if you're new, and check out the Amazon storefront linked down below. Get your accessories, save yourself time, save yourself a headache from balancing pizza boxes with garlic bread and sauces. Get a pizza bag, a dash cam, chargers, all that good stuff. So, how to protect yourself. After some more delicious cold brew, El Rucco says, DoorDash stresses me out, but I make 1K a week consistently. Let me know in the live chat or in the comments section. What is your weekly goal? Because as a hack here on the channel, something that we talk about, you gotta drive with a goal. Getting into some of our driver team best practices here. Anyway, how to protect yourself. There's a lot. There's a lot that from what I've read, from just my own experience, how to protect yourself. So let's get into some of these points here. Number 1, the clearest thing you should be doing is to always follow and stay up to date on Dasher procedures. And again, you and I are going to review that because frankly, the reason I put this in here and the reason I put it at number 1 is because I know efficiency is important to you. I know doing the delivery as seamlessly and honestly as quick as possible is very important to you and myself, right? We want to get on to the next order. But let's make sure that we're not skipping steps in the delivery process. Now, let's look at the screenshot to the right. Again, this is my account that I got flagged, what, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. And it says I was late by 10 minutes to this Panera, okay? Expected to arrive by time, and it says 2:33. Store arrival time, 2:43. That says what happens next. Arriving extremely late to the pickup, again, or the drop-off is grounds for deactivation. Our deactivation team will review this delivery, including any additional details you provide. And I'm going to show you that, or I'm going to mention it rather, those additional details. And then we'll notify you any changes to your account status. Well, how does that make you feel? They'll say, we're going to review your delivery, including any details you'll provide. We'll get back to you from our deactivation team. Now, you will be able to dash during this time. That screenshot continues. We'll notify you of any changes to your account status. So this is very real. This is why we're talking about this today. Because, there's certainly new features. There's the new DoorDash Dasher rewards program. There was Top Dasher from last year. There was Challenges, which is in beta from last year. It's coming to more marketplaces. I mean, there is a lot of changes that happened last year into this year. And I think why that may be one of the reasons why DoorDash is so popular, at least on the Dasher end. But this is really one massive change that has to deal with deactivations. So you can't do any of that other stuff if you're off the platform. So this is very, very important. Let's go to fact number 2 here, or point number 2 here. This is big. This is big. And I need you to lean in, pay attention for this, because I've seen drivers do this. And I saw this in the driver forums when I was combing through Reddit. You cannot do this. Number 2, never multi-app on different apps when it affects the customer ETA. So if you're driving on Uber Eats and DoorDash at the same time, you can't do that anymore. Because if you pick and choose to pick up the DoorDash order first, and then the Uber Eats order first, it doesn't matter which order you do it in. You know, if I pick up the Uber Eats order first and the DoorDash order first, or second rather, then I may be late to that restaurant for DoorDash. If I pick up DoorDash first, I'm on time, but then I go pick up Uber Eats, and even if I drop off to DoorDash first, chances are you're probably still going to be late by 10 minutes. 10 minutes is the threshold. If you're late by 10 minutes to the pickup or the drop off, you may get a contract violation. So no longer can you multi-app when it affects the customer ETA. Now, let's clarify here. This is very, very important. Let me clarify this multi-apping thing, because I am a big advocate for multi-apping, but this is not the multi-apping that we're seeing here. Let's explain. Whenever I advocate for multi-apping, I'm talking about just driving on different apps at the same time. So yes, you can still drive on Uber Eats and DoorDash at the same time, but you're only going to accept one order from obviously one app, and you're going to pick the one that pays you the best, right? Because you have that freedom as an independent contractor. This multi-apping is driving on two apps at the same time, but accepting both orders. Again, you know, DoorDash and Uber Eats. That you cannot do. That kind of multi-apping you cannot do. Now, there is one very, very, very niche strategy that I talk about where you can do that, accepting both Uber Eats and a DoorDash at the same time, only if it does not affect the customer ETA. Let's say an Uber Eats pickup was from McDonald's and DoorDash was from a whatever restaurant, and they're right next to each other, so there's no additional commute time. And then the drop-offs are basically right next to each other, so there's no effect to the customer ETA. That is very, very rare. Number 3. Now we're getting into the actual protecting of yourself and your account on the documentation side. Protect yourself with additional documentation. I cannot stress enough to you how much I saw this point being made in those driver communities. Again, what we're talking about over on Discord, comment sections, what have you. This is probably one of the biggest things you can do to protect your account status. Because as we mentioned, DoorDash is going to ask you for additional documentation when you get these flags. So look at the screenshot again to the right. Provide additional details. And I don't believe we put the actual screenshot here. Maybe I'll post it on the community tab. So again, subscribe if you're new. But probably like you, I was surprised and frankly a little agitated that I even got this flag. Why? Because I always deliver from A to B. There's never any pit stops. I'm not stopping for gas in between. I mean, frankly, if you did, that wouldn't even affect the ETA, only by what, 2 minutes to get gas. But anyway, I'm not making pit stops. I'm not multi-apping and grabbing an Uber Eats order. I told DoorDash, I said, there is, well, the exact verbiage, I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage, but I said, you know, I always make the deliveries exactly as instructed. The only delays that I would experience on the road are uncontrollable, i.e. traffic or something else. There's no reason there would be an at-fault delay from a pickup or a drop-off, flat out. So I was very surprised to get this. So when it comes to protecting yourself, look what we see here: a dash camera, screenshots, some kind of delivery confirmation. What do I mean by that? Well, whenever you provide additional details to DoorDash, you can type in there and type a paragraph. I can't remember if you can attach images or video, right? But anyway, you can do that via support, via email. You can attach images or video. Get a dash cam right now if you don't have one already. Go to that Amazon storefront or not, whatever. Those are affiliate links. So if you just want to go to Amazon, that's fine. But I would appreciate it if you go to that Amazon storefront, get a dash cam now. Now, what is that going to do? It's going to show video evidence that, yeah, look, I delivered from the restaurant directly to the customer. It's going to show, look, there's construction. Did you guys know that? I mean, look at the traffic. This was unexpected. Or look, there's an accident. I don't know what you guys were showing with the ETA, but there's an accident. Maybe it just happened. You know, maybe your system didn't pick it up. I don't know. But look, here's video evidence that I drove from A to B. Screenshots. Take screenshots of whatever you want. If you can't afford a dash cam, I think you should definitely get an investment. There's different investment options on that storefront, but maybe screenshots, screenshot Waze, screenshot Google Maps, screenshot the delivery screen on DoorDash showing your PIN, your location at that customer's location. Make sure it shows the street names or maybe house numbers if your GPS shows that. Make sure the time is in that screenshot to say, look, I was there at this time. Now, that's not going to show necessarily the delivery confirmation. That's why I put that next point there, delivery confirmations. What some drivers are doing, and this is not a bad idea, is taking pictures of every single delivery once you complete it, even if it's a handoff delivery. So and this is up to you, how much you want to do some of this documentation, but some drivers take a picture of the customer holding the food. Some drivers take a picture of the food at the house number or at the apartment number. I think that's a good idea. If you don't want to worry about privacy issues, taking a picture of a customer, especially as I know customers are anticipating that, you can at least take a picture of the food. Before you knock on the door, ring the doorbell, or leave for a contact list, you can leave it, back up, take a picture of that house number with the food in the shot there. It says, there it is. It's better than not doing it, right? You can take pictures of your delivery screenshot if it's contact list. It asks you to take a picture to confirm that contact list delivery's been made. Same kind of thing there. Whenever you take that picture, screenshot that delivery confirmation screen and save it. Save it for probably 7 to 10 days as the next pay cycle sequences out. Or even if you want to go all in, get an external hard drive, save all of that documentation to a hard drive. What I would do in that sense is I would create a folder for every single day with your pictures. Every day have a folder, dump all that content into that folder, and have just an external hard drive for all of your documentation. So whenever you get a flag, you can go back into that folder, pull up that picture from that delivery. Again, it depends on you, how deep you want to go with that documentation. Grabbing another sip of coffee, guys. I appreciate you being here. Todd, Shift One, Erlin, Diablo. I see you guys in here. Definitely drop a like if you're getting value in this training today. An extremely important update on these contract violations. Share it with someone who drives for DoorDash if you know someone that drives as well. Consider joining the team here. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. That's massive. Documentation. I could talk about that for 45 minutes. That is massive. There's so many things you can do to, just protect yourself when it comes to these violations, because again, you can be deactivated. But I want to show you these bottom points here. I want you to continue to drive to eliminate these violations, because based on the terms of service from DoorDash, based on what they officially say, if you continue to drive enough eligible deliveries, it'll disappear. And it's just one. We've seen drivers note they've had 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4, and they're still active on the platform. Now, that is not an excuse to not follow best practices, not follow good service. If you game the system, if you do anything that's whatever it is, I can't think of what I'm trying to say here, but any less than savvy business practices, then yes, you should probably be deactivated from the platform. Put frankly. But if you're following best practices, if you're following the terms of service. Last point here. I'm going to come back to you here as part of the team, and I want to encourage you to not fear deactivation. I say, and I know a lot of you are going to say, well, come on, what are you talking about? I'm getting these violations. It's a big red flag. I have this red 10 minutes, and it's plastered on my account. I get that. But number one, given that this is new. Number two, we've seen drivers still stay active on the platform. Number three, the fact that it does disappear after 100 deliveries. If I were to give you the other side of the coin here, that's what we do here on this channel, I would not drive in fear of deactivation. You can protect yourself as well, have that documentation, but don't drive fearing deactivation if you're providing good service. And frankly, I know this is false. I know this is a false violation here. And if I was late, it was due to, like I said, to DoorDash, uncontrollable circumstances. So think about it. If you're following best practices always, combined with additional documentation and the fact that, you know, at least from what we're seeing here, 1 or 2 are not going to get you deactivated and they disappear, I don't want you to drive in fear of deactivation. Now, worst case scenario, if you are deactivated, and again, if you have all of that documentation, I would start doing that today, then chances are you'll get reactivated, in my opinion. And in my opinion, if you are not reactivated, then I think you have some real cause there to escalate that. If you are not reactivated and you did follow best practices and you have documentation. Because I'll bring another very real point to you here. Some of these, I don't know if I want to say most, but we know for a fact that some of these are fraudulent claims. I've seen it from Dashers, especially if order never arrived. If I got an order number never arrived, that is flat out false. Following best practices, unless it was stolen from the point that it was left to the front door or the apartment to the time that that customer went to the front door. And this may be another good reason. And here's another a tip that you can do is always knock, always ring the doorbell if you want to text the customer as well. The customer already gets a notification that there's a delivery, that it's been made, right? In addition to all the tracking in the app, they'll also get a text message. So there's tons of safeguards here to let the customer know that their food's been delivered. But I think this is just a doubling down on your end, is maybe you just always want to knock. Because myself, I don't always knock. I don't always ring the doorbell because, again, I mean, most of us can understand the common sense of tracking these orders in your app. You get a picture confirmation for these contactless deliveries. But foolproof, maybe you want to take action here and just, you know, do those things. You know, knock, you know, text, or whatever you want to do to protect yourself. So we need to review this. Maybe you haven't seen this before, but this is very important because I don't want you to miss things here. These are the scenarios of your delivery. This is officially from DoorDash, again, from DoorDash's official website. We need to review this because there's a procedure here that you must follow or you can get a flag for different scenarios. So let's look at this. Situation, a hand it to me delivery, or leave it at the door delivery. So reviewing this, normal delivery, there's no problem arriving to the customer's address. Cool. Hand it to me deliveries, they want you to, well, there's no special action or photo required. You're simply going to click on complete delivery. Knock on the door. Hey, I got your delivery. Thank you. Have a great day. Mark complete delivery. So if it's a leave it at the door delivery, follow the in-app instructions by taking a clear photo of the food at the proper drop-off location. That is required. Again, you may want to screenshot that or take that time to take another picture as well for your records. Optional is to leave a description of where you left the food. Maybe it's a little bit less optional now, you know, for documentation purposes. Let me know. Do you ever fill out that? Frankly, I never fill that out because, again, there's plenty of common sense safeguards in the app, but maybe now's the time to start filling this out. I mean, it's pretty common sense, but let me know if this is what we have to do now. I left at front door. I left at garage as instructed. I left at side patio as instructed. I left on front table on patio as instructed. I left at apartment 9 front door as instructed. It's just more documentation. More documentation doesn't really hurt you. And then number 3, click complete delivery. Yeah, Diablo says, dogs go crazy when I knock. I mean, that's some of the things. Some of these customers do not want you to knock. My brother, for instance, when he orders as a customer, he doesn't want Dashers to knock because they got a big doodle. They got a big doodle dog, and that dog goes crazy. I mean, it's not, you're not just trying to dip out of there. I mean, you're just trying to be conscientious of that. Or maybe they have a baby sleeping. Not everyone wants to hear that doorbell throughout the entire house or knocking. And there's a note there. If you leave it at the security desk or reception, you should still follow these steps. So don't forget that. Don't just, you know, give it to the security desk or the concierge and book it, you know, because you'll forget, oh, I need to take a picture, right? So say, okay, hey, just, you know, I just got to take a picture real quick. Scenario number 2, customer takes the food from you. This is the big one. Customer takes food from you directly. This happens, I don't know, 15% of the time. So if it's a handed to me, well, that's what they should do. If it's a handed to me delivery, that's exactly how it should go. Same thing, no special action is required. But if it's a leave it at my door, and this happens, right? I'm approaching the front door, and the customer comes out. Oh, hey, got your delivery for you. Maybe a little bit less now with everything going on in the landscape, but this can still happen. So if the customer takes the food from you before you were able to take a photo of the app, then skip the photo and select I handed the order to the customer. Possibly some issues here. Let's talk about this one. So again, if the customer takes the food from you directly, but the app said, leave it at my door, you may want to consider a few things. Now, this is more so in the rideshare space, but maybe you want to transition this to DoorDash. If you are uncertain, number 1, is this actually the right customer? Think about it. Is it actually the right customer, especially if it's a large apartment complex or I don't know, whatever, right? Is it actually the right customer or business, right? Someone comes out and say, oh, perfect, that's my order. There could be multiple people, right, waiting for DoorDash. So confirm that. Say, oh, what was the name for? It's the same thing I did on the rideshare platforms. What was the name for, or the customer name? And then they'll tell you, oh, it was under Daniel. They'll say, oh, no, I don't have Daniel. And then they may say, oh, it might have been under Sarah, right? Because sometimes it's placed on different accounts. They just can't remember. You may want to get the name. If they are trying to get the food, but it's marked as a leave it at door, that is a massive hack. Because it could just be an honest error. Because again, there's several people in that business or what have you are waiting for DoorDash. And their app said that their driver was arriving too. I've had scenarios back in San Diego where I've literally walked to the front door with another Dasher for the same apartment. I'm not even talking about a business, the same apartment. I said, hey, we got 2 delivery drivers here for you, which is kind of funny. So consider that, confirm the customer name if they are grabbing that order from you, but it's marked as leave door. Let's continue. Another scenario. This is, again, officially from DoorDash here. Guys, hit the like button, over 200 in this live stream. I appreciate everyone being here. If you are just joining, don't worry. You can watch the replay right after this. Or if you're watching in the replay, this is extremely important. Share this out. Drop a like if you're getting value. So if you can't find the customer's address or the door, click on I can't hand the order to the customer and follow these in-app instructions. This is where it starts to get a little more niche. Less common examples. So again, we can't find the customer's address or their door. I had this happen where I had an apartment complex. They gave me the building number, but they didn't give me the apartment number. First thing you're obviously going to do, we're looking in the middle column here, is trying to contact the customer via text or call. Do both. Do both. Have documentation. First thing I do, typically I'll call. Sometimes I'll text it. Use your best judgment. But calling, you're reaching them directly. You can ask those questions. If they pick up, you don't have to wait for responses. And you're going to obviously say, via text, you can say, hey, this is Mike from DoorDash. I'm trying to make your delivery. I have your apartment building number, but I don't have your apartment room number. Something like that, right? Now, after that, waiting 5 minutes at your location, if during this time you can find the customer, click on I found the customer, right? So you want to click on customer unavailable if you cannot find this customer here. And that's where you're going to wait 5 minutes. So if you can't find the customer, if you can't find the apartment number, click on customer unavailable. Again, you've called or texted. You have to wait 5 minutes at this location. I know it's a pain. I did that in that scenario, right? There's a countdown in the Dasher app. You have to do it. I know, but at least it covers you. You followed the procedure. So wait those 5 minutes. And then you're going to take a clear photo of the food at a safe drop-off location that is required. Point number 3, middle column. Again, take a clear photo of the picture and drop it off in a safe location. That is different. Pay attention. Lean in for this. That is different than a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, whatever it is. Years ago, you were able to keep that delivery for yourself. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, kind of, a couple of years ago. That is not the case anymore. You have to leave this food in a safe location. So if you didn't know that, you could have just took the food. Yeah, DoorDash lets me keep the food. No, not anymore. So you have to leave it in a safe location. That would be a lobby. I mean, kind of just that, right? A lobby, a landing, whatever, in a safe location. It is not your responsibility after that. Leave it in a safe location. Try to keep it off the ground. That's the best you can do. And then leave a description of where you left the food. Again, more detail is better in those scenarios. And then click on complete delivery. It is up to the customer to answer that phone call, to answer that text message, to complete that delivery. If they did not provide the condo number, the townhouse, the apartment number, it is not your fault. Just follow those prompts. Now, try contacting the customer via text or phone. If the customer is unresponsive, then follow these in-app instructions. Same kind of thing there. Take a clear photo of the food in a safe drop-off location. Now, this is the one where it says, leave at door. The first scenario, middle column, that is a handoff. Because you should be expecting to hand it off to the customer, right? So it's kind of odd that they're not there, that you can't find them. That's why we have to go through that entire process. The column to the right here is for contactless. Leave at door. So the procedure there is a little bit different. We can see we just simply have to take a clear photo of the food in a safe location. Take another sip of coffee here. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Gloria asked what dash cam is good. Again, if you're looking for a dash cam to protect yourself when you're driving, go to the Amazon storefront, link below, or just simply search on Amazon. But again, I appreciate you going through that store. I'm always a big advocate of the Vantrue N2 Pro. Vantrue N2 Pro, it's a great dash cam, high resolution, small profile so it doesn't stick out. And they do have different price points in the Vantrue line. So check it out. But frankly, I would invest more money in a dash cam. I would spend a little bit more to get the better quality because the main purpose of a dash cam is the image and video quality. So get a good sensor, get a good image and video quality so you can capture license plates if anything happens on the road. You can capture street names so you can confirm that you're, again, in the right place here. So this new development that really just happened November, right? November, December of 2020. And here, just in January of 2021, it is brand new. And there are things that we need to be aware of because, again, this can lead to deactivation. If you are tagged for extreme lateness, that is 10 minutes late to the pickup, the drop-off, okay? It's a violation to these agreements. But in my opinion, I mean, follow best practices, follow here on the channel. And I guess now, especially in Q1 here, look into more documentation. Protect yourself. But like I mentioned, I don't want you to drive in fear of deactivation because DoorDash even said these are rare occurrences. I have done 16 plus 100 deliveries and I've gotten one recently. Now, granted, yes, it's a newer feature, but I always go to A to B. I'm always following customer instructions. So I don't want you to drive in fear. Now, if we see these ramp up, if we're seeing drivers say, I got one, I got another one the week after. If I'm seeing the conversation in our Discord, again, join that Discord that's also linked down below, saying these things like, hey, we're getting slammed with these. I absolutely think that drivers are going to voice their opinion on that. And I know for certain that DoorDash is looking at things like these, like this rather. And they don't want to lay out fraudulent flags on accounts either. They're going to lose dashers. And it just doesn't make sense because customers may try to game the system. Some of them, again, I'm not saying that the lateness and the orders not arrived aren't real. They definitely are, but that is something to consider. So if you got value in this live stream, definitely share it out with another driver. I would rewatch this as well, frankly, because there are a lot of points here. There's things that you need to consider. So if you only watch half, if you join late, or just to really get all of the points that we talked about today, I would rewatch this stream as well. So I will leave a video right here. You can click or tap the screen to watch my newest video or a video recommended for you. Definitely join the team if you haven't joined already, and I'll see you in the next one.